Hello, everyone. To upset Kate's shirt, I'm going to say Sego Sewaguego. Hi, everybody. Kate's wearing very colonist shirt today, so, you know. Here we are after the Pope's visit. Gotta spice it up. Today we are on episode 37. Thank you for joining us. This is all about Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is the second episode after our classic shit show a couple weeks ago, so thank you if you're actually listening. Otherwise, this is just going into the void. I'm going to start us off with asking what people are drinking, and let's go with Kate, who is labeled as mom, which is not as confusing for my brain as I thought it would be.
That's delightful to hear about. So the fucking shirt I'm wearing is from my time at GW, which they finally decided to fucking change their mascot from being the Colonials. Proud of them, but yes, it does say
hippos.
Oh, dude,
They're not going to do it, but they fucking should.
Exactly.
It's because they're fucking cowards. That's why they won't do it.
Anyway, so yeah, no, my shirt says Colonials Army on it because
that's what our student section was called.
I did misread it as just Colonial Army, and I was like, wow.
I mean, that's what it says. There's no S on
Feels
there.
a little bit like a personal
Oh, yeah, there
attack,
is no S in there. No, it is. It's horrible. It's great. Anyway.
It's okay. GW.
Anyway, never mind colonialism. I'm drinking.
Another happy landing.
Fuck's sake. I am drinking. This is Monkey Paw Gin.
I thought you said monkeypox.
No.
Good old monkeypox gin.
Although that would have been topical.
Yeah, I was like, that's fast marketing.
No, this is Monkey Paw Gin, which is solidly fine. If you're a person who just likes a real like classic general juniper-y gin profile, then this is fine. If you're me and you like to drink weird shit, you're not getting this again. I poured myself probably too much. It's not. I don't think it's quite a double. It's like a 1.5-full, but you know, whatever. Well, it'll be fun.
When the person with the English degree says 1.5-full, we know it's going to be a great pod.
I was just talking to my writing group too, so you know, this is super great.
What about you, Burb? What are you drinking? Oh, sorry. Before you answer, I'm going to interrupt and say Burb is producing for us. So if you're happy with the sound drops, you should hype her up on Twitter or Instagram. Anyway,
if you are not happy with the sound drops, you should
blame Kristen.
Yeah. Because she is the producer and will still produce this later. I'm drinking water. I tried to make an old-fashioned earlier, and I fucked it up real bad, and I was like, it was still drinkable, but I didn't have the energy to try another one. There was too much syrup.
Oh, yeah, that'll
How much syrup did you put in?
Not a lot. I was like, okay, like I saw a recipe online, and I was like kind of trying to double it, but like...
And doing bad math
is hard.
Math is really hard. I couldn't do that in Excel, so...
Do you need time to run and get an emergency beer?
No, I'm good. I don't have any beer. I have one beer.
Oh, no.
I don't like it.
Who are you?
I just paid rent, man. I don't know.
That's fair. I just am used to you always having like 700 beers in your fridge, so I just... Oh, but I forgot you had... Yeah.
That is fair.
Guests.
Yes.
Ignore me. We can cut that.
Burb's like, I did?
So that's news. I've never had more than... Actually, I've had 3 people in my apartment at once before. It was real weird. We didn't fit.
We were there.
Yeah, that was that time.
That was at the time.
Plus
yeah.
a dog.
Yeah,
Plus a dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus a small dog who did not kill
Small
Tony.
dog and a large cat.
And Tony did not kill him.
More like Tony didn't kill him. Yeah.
Tony looked at us like, what the fuck is this? But, God, Chris, are you next? I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go produce. Happy Booker's Pop, everyone.
Yeah, I can go next. I'm drinking bourbon. No simple syrup to be found. I'm drinking, I feel like I've had it on the pod before, but like that could have been 10 years ago at this point. So like it's called like Jefferson's Ocean bourbon, and it's that weird one that like literally they take the barrels on a fucking ship and age it at sea, so it tastes like kind of salty. I don't know that I'd recommend it to other people. Yeah, thank you.
Do you
I don't
have
know
to
that I'd
pay
recommend
extra?
it to other people, but I like it. I mean,
How much
bourbon's
more?
expensive now.
how much more money do you have to pay to get bourbon that's been on a ship?
I can answer this for you. I can go on the website at Hazel's.
Ooh.
But it's fine. It works for me because famously I hate bourbon because it's too sweet, and so the saltiness cuts the sweetness a little bit, which is really nice.
I'm sorry to be this person again, but between Kate's shirt and now you drinking Jefferson's Ocean, I don't know what's going on. In
I
your house.
honestly, as I was saying it, I was like, God, fuck.
It's a bad day.
Also, I was distracted and told the Hazel's website that I was under 21, so I don't know if it's going to let me,
Now
let
it's
me on
banned.
there anymore.
Permaban.
oh my god. That'll be just desserts, honestly. There.
Really fucking. Okay, here we go. They don't track cookies.
Well, thank God.
I thought
Alright.
Kate was gonna have to learn to drive.
No. That's so bad. I would've- no, that was exactly what you don't want. Chris, did you find it?
I did. Hang on. Rana hasn't told us what she's drinking.
That's true.
Oh yeah, but I've said far too much already. I'm never allowed to intro a pod again. So I am drinking this, which is Armas de Guerra Mencía. I don't know what type of wine it formally is. It has a lot of different places in Spain on it. I don't know if Mencía is a type of wine. I am a plebe, but it is good. It is one of the only bottles of wine I had at my apartment because I moved a couple weeks ago, and 99% of my alcohol is still at Cadman's house. Oh, it is a Mencía. It is 100% Mencía. So it says this profound, complex, red, dark berry, and savory notes pair. Oh, I don't know how to read already for a book pod. Pairs well with lamb and pancetta. I don't eat really either of those things. It's produced from vines planted in 1960, located in Bierzo Zone 1 at approximately 1,800 feet in elevation. It does give meters as well, but this is America, god damn it. Just kidding. Meters make way more sense. Talks about clay and slate soil. I don't know how much you all want me to share. It talks about the average temperature, annual rainfall, and it is unoaked. It's delicious, honestly. I'm a big fan of pretty much all Spanish wines, so I'm happy. It's a 2018. And that's what I'm drinking. Chris, do you want to tell us how much extra you have to pay for the salty bourbon?
Yeah, I don't remember paying this much, so I don't know if they like increased the price because this is an old bottle, admittedly.
He doesn't want us to know we got money.
Oh my god.
Yes,
inflation hit the fucking colonizer fucking bourbon as well.
I mean, bourbon's booming right now, so it has
all bourbon is
gone up in
bourbon.
price in the past several years. It's solidly $15 more than
Oh wow.
what appears to be their default.
Huh.
But I also don't remember paying close to this much for it. It's listed at $80, and I would have never
was gonna
paid
say,
$80 for this.
Are you gonna give us the number? Because I'm looking at it right now. I'll tell the people. It is $80 damn.
I would not have paid $80 for novelty bourbon. So I don't know what I paid for it, but it wasn't that.
Novelty bourbon, you fucking snob.
Listen,
all right.
it's good, but like it's a fucking novelty.
Alrighty, wow, Jesus.
You know, I see things are going well in the Lou Cedar house in terms of
Yeah.
alcohol purchases.
Yeah, no, that shirt
Honestly,
choices.
There's a good chance this was part of my post Vegas binge purchases.
Oh, that's
No.
right.
So
It has to have been because I do not recall you buying that. And you, every time we go to Hazel's and I'm with you, because you went by yourself, I think, to do that because I was
I
in
did.
class.
Yes.
Yeah. And every time I go to Hazel's with you, I just watch you spend about 20 minutes agonizing over 2 bottles of whatever the fuck you're trying to buy. And you just like read me off every single tasting note that has ever existed, the history of like the fucking
Called
distillery.
being an informed connoisseur, Kate.
Okay, but there's this
But I
little
was going to
problem.
Toshi
I don't
Station
give
to pick up some power converters.
the problem is I don't give a flying fuck, and you do this to me all the time, and I'm like, I just would like to go home and drink my alcohol. So it's all right. It's all
Rana,
right.
when you come tomorrow, you need to try that tequila.
Yes.
Okay, I'm totally down. Also, maybe you did pay $80 if it was the post Vegas binge.
It's
You should
entirely
also
I-
try the salty bourbon and tell
Chris
us
is
how
like,
it
no.
is.
Oh, I totally
No,
will.
this
I
is
love salt.
the salty bourbon is killed now. This is the last.
Wow.
Boo.
Wow.
What if I almost made a really inappropriate joke, but I'm not going to go there. Never mind.
I just want to say that
It's about
Chris,
Jefferson.
my wedding anniversary is in 3 days, and I'm just like nonstop, just telling you me fucking sucks right now.
I mean, that's how you show love, right? Your
That's
love
it.
language is hate.
Yes.
I mean, if we remember our anniversary, that'll be.
yeah, we
I have
forget
it on my
routinely.
calendar for some reason, along with Orca's Gotcha Day. I don't know why these are on my
That's so
calendar, but
cute.
it's there.
The two
Orca's
best
got-
holidays in August.
Orca's Gotcha Day is far more important, though, as we
Fair
all know.
enough. I'm going to go ahead and talk about our cause for this episode just because I think Burb is ready to stab herself in the face with her microphone. So just like last time, our cause for this episode, or really for this TV series, is Indigenous Women Rising, which is an organization committed to honoring Native and Indigenous people's inherent right to equitable and culturally safe health options through accessible health education, resources, and advocacy. And again, they are the only nationwide Indigenous abortion fund in the country. So if you want to go throw them some dollars, please do.
I was just
Burb is making a
trying to
face.
find some of the drops.
Oh.
'Cause I've never seen this side of.
I don't know if we have one specifically for natives getting abortions, but maybe it's in there. Something about the Tuscan
We should,
Raiders, I don't
though.
know.
I don't know what it would be, but
I can't
Yeet.
I can't do this. I'm just gonna.
It's a hate crime. That's a really good one, honestly.
yeah, that works.
And
It's just a
their
good
website-
all-purpose abortion drop.
Yeah, exactly. That or all the times Burb has yelled yeet on the pod.
Yes.
Mhm.
Their website is iwrising.org, by the way. So cool. All right, let's talk about shit. So we're gonna start where we left off last time, which is a question here around. Drew asked this. Sorry, I currently cannot read with two monitors now that I have them both set up. So Drew asked, do you think the storytelling was effective, or did it rely too much on fan service in replaying tropes? What would you change if you had creative input?
Yeah. So Chris and I talked about this quite a bit afterward. I feel like, I don't know, for me the fan service was largely earned just because it came in the later episodes. I feel like at that point Deb Chow had built up enough storytelling goodwill to deploy those things. I think the one thing I would have changed narratively, well, not even narratively, but just a little bit of tweaking at the end. And I know this is gonna hurt Rana because she loved the Qui-Gon cameo.
No, I didn't. It was just one thing that I expected more of. It's not that I loved it.
That's fair enough. One thing I probably would have either cut that or made that just a voice sort of thing that Obi-Wan hears. What I thought might have been cool was if while he was packing up his emo cave, if we'd seen one more time that, just Anakin's lightsaber. I thought what could have been fun. And also, just properly gut wrenching. But those were my quibbles, I guess, with the finale there.
Yeah, I also didn't think it was too much. I mean, I agree that I think loading any fan service that there was into those last two episodes was the move. There really wasn't too much what I would call fan service. There were callbacks in the first few episodes, but it was all not done for laughs, not really done for nostalgia, and just kind of done as part of the atmosphere.
It's not like what Dave Filoni does on any of his fucking shows, where he's just wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I mean, no,
we
literally.
all get the joke. And
Literally,
it's
I was
Jesus.
gonna say, I feel like anytime there's fan service on Mandalorian, they look at the camera like they're Jim from The
Yeah.
Office.
Exactly. They always break fourth wall.
Yeah, and it's no, nobody asked for this. That's a lie. The fan bros did ask for this. That's the problem. But no, and I even in the finale where we had him doing the fighting stance, and him calling Vader Darth, and even Qui-Gon showing up. I can't remember if I talked about this last episode. For whatever reason, Qui-Gon showing up didn't really work for me visually as well. I don't know if I would call that fan service as much as part of the plot, because that also was earned from a standpoint of he was talking to Qui-Gon, except not talking to Qui-Gon for the whole series. I think the only wink, wink, nudge, nudge fan service was when he said hello there to Luke. And that was very self-aware. You all sat through this, you've earned it, just like Obi-Wan has. Here's a hello. You get a hello there, and you get a hello there. But no, honestly, I didn't think it was bad. I thought that
Hello
it
there.
was... Thank you.
Burby.
Now we need to get a drop that's all three hello there's in succession.
Have you seen the TikTok about that? I don't even have TikTok. I saw
No.
this on Reddit. I will text it to all of you. And someone timed them
Bless.
perfectly. So you have prequels, the Obi-Wan show, and then Alec Guinness all
I
saying
love it.
hello there in the same. It's perfect. I'll send it to you all in a text. Sorry
Please
if
do.
you're on Twitter. It's over. But
But yeah, so in general, I think the mood of the show being so bleak in the first half of the series helped with that because fan service just wouldn't have fit. Not that that has ever stopped Favreau and Filoni in the past, but like Deb Chow is better at filmmaking. so I didn't really find it distracting, no.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think I expected a lot more fan service, to be honest. And I was fine with what it was because sometimes I don't know what the difference is between fan service and like acknowledging canon and existing. Maybe like honestly, even the hello there didn't bother me. I was like, oh cool, like it's a weird way that he says hello and also a fun meme. But it didn't feel forced. It was good. I will say I think we talked about. I'm sorry, my brain is all over the place. We did talk about this last time, and we didn't answer this question, but I brought it up then. I was worried there was going to be a lot of Luke fan service, and maybe it's not fan service, just Luke content, which it's not for me. I would still watch it, but I was so happy with the sort of bait and switch around that. Deborah Chow is fantastic, and I didn't expect to get any Anakin. I mean, we knew when Kathleen Kennedy said that Hayden Christensen would be returning, we knew there would be some Anakin, but I, in thinking about the show, did not expect to have a lot of Anakin Obi-Wan content. I kind of thought maybe some flashbacks or, some Clone Wars flashbacks or something like that. So I wouldn't really call that fan service, maybe, but I was pretty happy with that, honestly. And I liked some of the references to Clone Wars and to, all sorts of other content. I was definitely here for that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think I said last episode that the one thing that it didn't have that I wanted was a Clone Wars flashback and Clone Wars armor, and I think that arguably would have been very fan servicey for Clone Wars fans to bring in these costumes that had never actually been in live action before. So it just goes to show, like, sometimes people really want fan service.
I don't think all fan
what works for
service is
one
bad.
person won't work for another person. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I completely agree that not all fan service is bad. Like sometimes it's just fun. Like when it's woven in such a way that it's just like, here's a fun little Easter egg where you will derive like just a smidgen more enjoyment out of whatever it is because you understand the reference. I'm totally fine with that. When it's just like, you didn't watch episode 5 of like season 4 of the Clone Wars and therefore you will never get this joke ever in your life, then it's just like, all right, come on, relax. Like,
yeah, I'm a well actually person. Like the memes of the people pushing up their glasses and saying well actually, and here's the original content. Not with Star Wars, more with a couple other media. But yeah, that is absolutely like, I don't expect that level of anything at any time because then it's not accessible. Like Star Wars is for kids, right? We say that, what is it? It's Space Wizards for kids. Like it's fine. So yeah, I was happy with it. Burb, do you have anything to add about this? If not, we can cut me asking.
It is
I just don't want to cut you
very,
off 'cause I can't see
very
you.
bold of you to assume that I had any opinions on this.
Well,
It's
since
like,
I can't see you, I
oh,
didn't want to cut you
It's
off.
Obi-Wan.
well, she's producing, so I think she did that on purpose.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Well, I mean,
No,
he's
you're
your
doing
favorite
great.
movie, so.
Yes, a lot of people are my favorite movie.
you
You're
did
doing
get
great.
you did get Clone
It's
Wars
also not my
or
favorite movie, but
Oh yeah, what about all the Padme references? That didn't make you happy?
Oh,
I do love me some Padme references. It was good, and Leia just being like a sassy little Padme was great.
So that's a good lead in to thinking about, do we consider the Padme references to be fan service? Because like they didn't do too much for the plot, and there was the one in episode 3 where Leia asked, "Are you my real father?" And he starts in he highly alludes to the fact that he knew her mother. And then in episode 6 he's very explicit. I don't remember what descriptors he used, but you are 1, 2, and 3 good things like your mother. And so, like, do we consider that fan service or do we consider that characterization?
I would consider it characterization just because, like, if there's one thing Star Wars is going to do, it's going to be underplay and erase the role of every woman ever, especially if they're women of color, which Padme is not, but, and so I don't mind referencing, like, especially, I don't know, thinking about the way that I just feel like the prequels do not do Padme justice. I think what we see in books and Clone Wars and other times is just, we've talked about this so many times, I think especially with Queen Shadow, but I just don't think that we see enough of her awesome attributes in those movies. And so to remind folks that she's a real character and not just like, oh no, I'm sad, bye. I was here for that. And maybe it is fan service. Like maybe I'm the fan that is serving. But I didn't mind it just as a way of like characterizing and also reminding folks that Jesus Christ, that Padme is, you know, an actual character.
I'm extremely inclined to agree with everything you just said. Justice for Padme's knife. But yeah, like one point that like a lot of, granted there were Padme stans in the fandom on the social medias, but I think it's a fair point, is that like Obi-Wan was friends with both Anakin and Padme, and they were both like very like instrumental in terms of his career as a Jedi, and you know, just like all of the things that he did in Clone Wars. And it's not like they didn't know each other, they were absolutely friends. And for him to see her daughter and, you know, think about her and mention her, like that absolutely I think has a narrative place, and didn't feel like, I feel like my definition of fan service is like shit that like, in addition to being obscure shit that like is annoying, is also shit that like it feels shoehorned in, like things that really call attention to themselves. And I didn't think that any of the Padme references felt like that at all.
That I agree with completely.
Did you think it counted as fan service, Chris?
No.
Do you hate women?
Yes, clearly. I'm really just gonna find an excuse to start complaining about the Ghostbusters reboot that they did with all the women.
Sweet Jesus Almighty.
No, I didn't think it was fan service at all. I also felt that it was really earned. And also, frankly, had they found a way to flash back and bring Natalie Portman into it, I would have been fucking thrilled. Like,
yeah, I almost wondered if they might, but I think she was in Australia.
Yeah, the only reason I wondered if they might is because she was coming back to Thor, and I was like, how much money is she trying to bank right now?
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly my thought process.
But no, I didn't think it was fan service. I felt that it was very well done. And Kate, I would completely agree with your definition of fan service right now. Like it, and how we were talking about before, like it feels unnecessary. Like even if it's good, it feels unnecessary. Like nobody gives a shit about them saying E-Web 10 times in Mandalorian. It doesn't take away from it necessarily, and it adds a certain level of in-universe detail. But the show wouldn't be worse without it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I do think that the Padme mentions in this, as you know, sparse and well placed as they were, very much added to kind of the pain that Obi-Wan feels over, you know, what he, you know, I think still feels is his responsibility for the death of his friend.
E-Web.
Man, remember when the #1 show in America said the word fucking E-Web in it? What a world.
Oh my god.
We're doomed.
I will say that Kristen, who is not here tonight, shouldn't die or anything. She just, I almost said isn't with us. That's why I'm specifying. She just has other things she has to do and needs to be a human being who rests. I don't want to leave out her important note about Obi-Wan throwing actual rocks at Anakin and Anakin being a terrible liar despite all this time. Yeah, I just didn't want to look past that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw so many memes of just, you know, that shot of Obi-Wan manipulating the rocks, and the caption was just like, I am the high ground, and I was just like, thank God.
Amazing.
It was so incredible.
I'm so sad that I didn't see that with how much time I spent on the internet. That is incredible.
That's fantastic.
It was so great. Yeah, no other words to say, honestly. It was just perfect. And, you know, this fandom is garbage, and sometimes I love it very much.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you know, fan service versus actually adding something, the Kristen's note about Anakin being a bad liar is in reference to the end episode where he tells Palpatine Kenobi means nothing. And Palpatine was also someone we did not expect to see in this series. At least, you know, maybe people thought about it, but it certainly wasn't, I think, on anybody's, you know, like bingo card for things to expect in this series.
I think I expected Palpatine more than I expected young Leia. Like, I kind of thought we might get some Palpatine. Was once they said that Hayden Christensen was returning, and then I was like, he'll probably do just a flashback. But then I was like, well, if we have Empire in any capacity, I thought maybe, but
That's very fair.
Yeah.
I also want to say that it was literally on someone's bingo card. Dr. Annalise Ophelian made a Obi-Wan finale bingo card for
oh my god.
things that may or may not happen. And
was one of them Palpatine?
Yeah, and one of them was Palpatine.
Well, there you go.
Dr. O, the creator of Looking for Leia, among other awesome things.
Did the card say somehow Palpatine is returned?
Yes.
Thank God.
Sorry, I
Well,
cackled, but
the good
phenomenal.
news
Bless.
is that Palpatine is actually still alive. That was a point for earlier.
What?
Well,
Just
like
spurred with that alcohol.
It's a quality podcasting experience that we give you sometimes
it would
whenever we
make
put
sense.
this thing out.
It would make sense because Palpatine's still alive. So, like, yeah, he could be in it. And, like, Hayden Christensen,
Oh, okay, I
he's
hear what you're
fucking
saying.
Vader. Yeah, like, is...
Oh, I understand. Okay. I
No,
see
I
you're
knew what you meant. I just wanted to give you shit.
I
I
straight up
thought you were
didn't.
saying that it made sense for him to be in Rise of Skywalker because he's still alive in this, and I was like, I think you missed a couple movies.
That's some bad math. You know I only watched a couple of
Yeah,
them
you only watch Attack of the Clones.
on repeat.
You know, we all
Um,
have to have something we like.
Yeah, but no, and I also thought that the Palpatine scene was limited enough to add to it and show kind of this very thin line between master and apprentice and I will beat the shit out of you if you step one more toe out of line. That is their relationship. Talking about Vader and Palpatine, and kind of also adds this connective tissue of like everybody was like, well, if Vader knew Obi-Wan was alive, why wouldn't he just spend every day of the next 10 years looking for him? And now it does kind of make sense for Palpatine to kind of be like, no, you had your little game. You let an entire ship of Jedi children get away. We're done.
No, Palpatine really rolled up on the video phone and was like, "Are you a little bitch? Because I can and will treat you as such."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of had vibes of like Maul at the end of Solo.
That's a good way of
but
putting it.
I think in a more understandable and predictable, like not bad predictable, but like it. My brain always knew Anakin was working with Palpatine, right? I did not know
Palpatine is
throughout
still
Solo that Kira
alive.
was working with Maul. So, yeah, Palpatine is still alive. Exactly. You can say it again,
And-
Bert. Maybe
and
that should be your
everyone-
title.
And everyone knows it. It's not like in Solo where I kind of guessed what the ending would be because I saw like a lot of spoiler-free stuff where people were fucking confused.
I'm pretty sure
it-
me and Kate saw Solo on like whatever the Thursday night, the first night it dropped, and we came out of it and immediately texted Kristen like, Kristen, you need to drop everything and see this movie tomorrow.
She was like, either there's a blue guy or Maul.
Basically.
Hondo was in it.
Your most favorite
Yeah.
trash.
Incredible.
It's
I'm
funny
gonna
because he
move
was on a
to-
garbage
oh,
planet. Sorry,
Yeah, no,
please
you're
continue.
good. You could have said he spidered his way in, or it was a web.
Ah.
Yeah, we get it.
Please continue.
No, you're good. I interrupt everyone my entire life. I was looking to see who asked us this question, but in fact, our normal producer, not the Burb, is an abnormal producer, but Kristen, I think, added this in her production, which was why a live action TV show.
That was me.
Sorry, Kate, giving your credit to a white person.
You know what? It's just recompense for wearing this fucking shirt. We're good.
It's true.
So
So yeah, Kate, why live action TV show?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask this question just like because I'm always interested in, since we're talking about multimedia Star Wars storytelling, like why pick certain venues for telling these particular stories? And so here's this question. For me, the fact that they told us in live action as opposed to like doing it through a comic, which doesn't get probably as wide viewership, readership, consumership, whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Or even an animated TV show. Like, I think the fact that they could get Ewan and Hayden to return for this is what made it work for me as live action. Like, obviously, like you can't do an Obi-Wan show without Ewan, but the fact that like they were able to get Hayden and bring back the most chaotic duo who has ever existed. Like, I think that was a lot of the intrigue and the joy for me, and also because many other people.
They did it
Yeah.
live action because money.
That too. I heard a lot of criticism of this, and this is such a random detail, but I don't think this should be the only reason to bring it back, but I loved the way they did lightsabers in this. I
did
was
too.
so excited. I've seen so many people trashing it online, and I was like, no, I don't mean the movements. I mean like just the glow, the
Yeah.
way that they lit things up, and you could see it in their faces. I don't know.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I loved that. Every time there was a fight, I was like looking at Cadman and I was like, look at the lightsaber! Look at the lightsaber! It was really
No,
exciting.
the
I
cinematography.
completely agree with you, Rana.
Yeah. It was super high quality. Cinematography, the
Gorgeous.
fact that they're glowing, the score, like the soundtrack, everything.
I mean,
I
it's
was
and
pleased with the
and
production.
and what they did that was different for those who maybe didn't follow it this closely
Sorry.
was why?
Oh, for people who are like, what the fuck are you talking
Oh.
about? Not for you, not to you.
Honestly, if people
I was
are
like,
what the
why
fuck-
is anyone on this podcast apologizing to me?
yeah.
This is a weird experience.
Also, what the fuck are you talking about? If you're listening to this podcast, I feel like you're a certain kind of person. But anyway, go on.
It's true.
A trash panda.
But so what they did differently this time was, so usually they'll use lightsabers that are just, hilts with blades that don't light up, and then they'll add the glow in post. And for this one, the lightsaber props actually did light up. And so there was a lot more ambient color during the dark lightsaber fights that we saw in episodes 3 and episode 6. And I also did not get why people were like, this looks weird. Like,
Because
I'm like, I'm sorry,
people
we have ambient glow for the first time in the world. Is this like when like new game consoles came out that could actually render shadows? Were people like, this is weird? Like,
Graphics are
Probably.
too good.
Honestly, though, people get mad anytime, like, it's just like, we decided to update this for our year of Satan 2022. They get mad when they change the proportions of the lightsaber. Rebels. They get mad. People just want to be mad, and they will find something to be mad about. And they were just like, I see beautiful, pretty colors on my TV, and for some reason, that did not bring them joy because they have no soul.
there's a certain crowd of people on Twitter who just like finding things to nitpick. I saw a lot of nitpicking about the volume in the show, and I will say there were 2 specific shots in 6 episodes that did not work for me when it comes to the volume, that like just the proportions looked off. But I saw people complaining like every episode, and I'm just like, this happened on Mandalorian too, where people complain about it, and I'm just like, there's no way. Like, I'm sorry, there's just no way that if you were not told that this was different, you would notice. Like, and it's just, and it's
Are we talking about the lightsaber still, or like when sometimes the music is way too loud and the dialogue is way too soft?
No,
Oh, I mean-
not
all media now.
yeah, the inability of Hollywood to mix sound properly is
No,
a
not
fucking
the-
epidemic.
Not the audio volume, the volume.
Yeah,
The
sorry, yeah,
facility
the
that they
staging
use.
facility.
Yeah. Which is a stupid name for a thing, honestly, which is why you're confused.
I think they
because
call it
it's stupid.
That
stagecraft
is-
now, but
Yeah.
yeah. So this
You're
is
doing great.
for people who aren't as deep into it or haven't watched any of the making ofs for Mandalorian. What they call the volume is a massive soundstage that has full wall-to-ceiling LED screens that show, instead of green screens, that show the background of that what will be, so that it's easier to play light off of it correctly, because you can actually see how the light is going to reflect off the actors and the environment, but also so that the actors can actually play off of their environment a little more. And there's not, yeah, exactly, no Obi-Wan and a speeder with an entire blue screen behind him.
Or, God, I will make Kristen put in the episode description. There is a extremely good interview that Ewan did for, I can't even remember who it was, where he was just describing filming the final scene for the prequel trilogy where he delivers baby Luke to Owen and Beru, and he was just like, yeah, and my EOB was a box, and so I had to pretend to be riding on a box, and he like mimes this motion that is very much hashtag like a bantha, and it is so fucking good. Yeah, no, the thing that he and Hayden kept talking about in interviews when they were doing the press tour for Obi-Wan is just them just being like, and thank God we don't have to work with just like stupid fucking green boxes and crap anymore that we don't even know what the fuck is going on. So Yay for technology. I'm sorry, Burby. I interrupted you about 72 times. Please talk now.
My joke is kind of moot now because I was just gonna ask Chris and Rana if they meant to imply that the graphics with Obi-Wan and Anakin and the prequels were not good enough for them.
No,
It
that's
was
relevant
very-
still.
No,
It
there was
still is. It was very.
there was
one
no
would ever
implication.
guess that.
There was no implication. It was
So you
it
love
was
love
explicit.
them. That's what I got. Okay, cool. They love the
I will
prequels,
say, Kate, I'm
folks.
glad you mentioned, the books. No, I'm just kidding. The prequels aren't bad. The score is great. Some of the points are really good. Revenge of the Sith is decent. Like, I don't hate it. I watch them every year.
Pears.
If it weren't
Yeah,
for the
not that
racism, Phantom Menace would be a very passable movie.
I can't
That's
handle
too
Jake Lloyd.
fucking racist, though.
Honestly,
If it
I don't
weren't
even.
Hating
for
Jake
the
Lloyd or the
racism-
characters.
If it weren't for the racism, I'm sitting right here, man. Have you seen a Neomoidian?
I'm sitting right here. Have you seen Watto?
Fucking guy. Just
I thought Burb was agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, no, the movie's too fucking. It's really racist. The first time I watched it in like a long
Yeah.
time, a few years ago, I was like home after the bar and really
It's
drunk,
bad.
and I started it and I texted Chris and like, has it fucking always been? Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
and
It's
like
rough.
with the timing of the release and the trade war thing, I was like, I gotta go.
And it honestly, it could be good because it's, hate him or love him, the Phantom Menace is pure unadulterated George Lucas doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. Fuck the audience. And there's something to be said for that, right? Like,
It's opposite of JJ.
this is the exact opposite of Rise of Skywalker. Exactly. And, there is something about that is useful. And he wanted to do a political thriller. And in his way, he did. The writing isn't great. Jake Lloyd is rough. I've come to accept Jake Lloyd's acting job just because there are very, little Leia is going to go down in history with Maisie Williams in early season Game of Thrones as children
And the kids
who
in
do.
Slumdog Millionaire.
And
I will never get over them.
yes,
oh man.
as the exceptions to the rule that child actors are very, difficult to get good content out of.
And I do feel bad criticizing him because people bullied him into legitimate mental illness for decades of
Yeah.
hatred for being a child.
Yeah, but you're having your opinions. You're not shoving them in his face, writing to his.
Yeah, I'm not adding
parents.
him on Twitter. I'm not like stopping him in the street.
Exactly. But no, I mean, Phantom Menace, it's just every time I want to watch it because, there is quality Padme content and there is political intrigue. You get as far as the first scene where Newt Gunray is welcoming the Jedi onto his ship and you're like, and we're back.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm just thinking about how this question could be applied to the Phantom Menace, and I'm not liking it. How did you all think that this was expanding the universe of Star Wars?
For me, it was basically just like, and as this was its intention, was to fill in certain holes in terms of storytelling and I think character building. How do we get from emo Wan to jolly old Santa Obi-Wan or whatever the fuck we want to call him, which I think it did, and effective. I think it was effective in terms of doing all of that. Sorry, I'm just looking at Kristen being like, if you think Vader hates and wants to find Obi-Wan, wait till you get a load of someone named Darth Spider-Man. And if you... Listen, she has a point. At least, Palpatine was able to be like, bro, you need to chill. Maul spent decades on a trash planet and running a crime syndicate and being trapped on whatever the fuck that planet was, evil Sith planet was called that I can't fucking remember. Chris, please help me out here.
Malcor?
Thank you. My brain just... I had... Yes! Lovely. Just delicious noises. Just spent literal decades of his life plotting his fucking revenge to kill this one dude and then sucked at it.
Yeah.
Which is neither here nor there, but... Indeed. Wait, it is neither here nor there, but Kristen said it, so I would like to just make sure that it gets out into the world.
Also, it is very much Maul's fault that he couldn't kill Obi-Wan. Like, let's be clear on that.
Oh, we know.
It 100% is Maul's fault.
Well, what is it Maul's fault in terms of his life, honestly?
So true. No, in terms of like how did this expand the universe, and to me this kind of brings back why a live action show to tell this story. And frankly, it's the prequel content that our generation deserved and didn't get. Like, it is good prequel content. And like, listen, there's prequel content that people love. There's prequel content that is nostalgic, and particularly for people around our age who were children when they came out, like, I will turn on Revenge of the Sith any day of the week and have a great fucking time. Like, no disrespect to people who love the prequels, but they're not good. And I don't think that people would seriously disagree with that. And just from everything from the acting to the special effects quality to just the general writing of it all, this is better. And it has so much of the prequel themes and characters that, you know, we got to see Ewan McGregor put his Oscar-nominated talents to work in Star Wars, which we've never seen before. We got to see Hayden Christensen
Do acting.
Okay.
Which we've barely seen in Star Wars.
But also consider the prequels had one pair, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series on Disney Plus, had 0 pairs.
I mean, to be fair, the pair in the prequels is not real. It is very
Okay, it's
CGI.
in space. Nothing's
So it is a green lump.
same.
The fucking pair.
Also, her outfit in that scene is so weird. It's like, we can't fall in love. Here's my BDSM getup.
Yo,
I'm like, okay.
fucking seriously.
I don't mind. Like, I'm here for the aesthetic, but really, with like the leather corset and the like shoulder length gloves, it's an interesting look.
I
That's all
don't
I'm
want
saying.
to
I don't mind
bone.
it,
I'm
but
just gonna wear this.
This is my chastity belt
not
outfit.
that what you
Wait,
wear
yeah, it's-
invites things.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
also,
That is
like,
a good. Yeah, but also, lol.
I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was my own point, so I didn't mean it that way. But like,
you're right though.
it's just curious. It's like one time I saw this tweet that said, "Oh no, my sort of boyfriend thinks that his mom's been murdered. Time to find my best crop top." And it's about when Padme goes to the desert. She's got like, I like that outfit.
That makes me so happy.
So good.
And again, I'm not hating on women for what they wear. Everyone knows I love a good
not.
thought outfit. I'm 100% here
Oh,
for
yeah.
tight clothes, all the clothes. Everyone who knows me knows I dress in a strange way. But it's just funny to me with the context and the intentions. That's all.
It's funny only because they are in space and therefore they could be wearing literally anything. You know, it is all fucking fake as hell.
Except underwear.
Correct. There are no
Right,
bras
no
in space,
underwear.
famously. But this is what happened.
No, it's funny because there was not a point being made about women's ability to clothe themselves regardless of wanting sex or not. It's just George Lucas being George Lucas.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'll actually say I think Padme has the best outfits in all of Star Wars.
Oh,
100%.
like
No
No question.
question.
I don't care if you're talking books, shows. I haven't really read many of the comics, but like all 9 plus the 2 anthology films, like I think her wardrobe is the best. So it's not judgment. I'm not like slut shaming. I think she should wear whatever she wants. If I had abs, I would dress like that too. I don't have abs and I don't quite dress that well, but I dress with far more skin, so it's fine. I get it.
No, absolutely. I mean, honestly, even the comics acknowledge this. There's that moment in the comics where like Leia like inherits Padme's wardrobe or something like that at some point, or she at least visits it.
Yeah.
And it's just like this is a lovely moment of her just like looking at all these beautiful gowns, and obviously the emotional significance, just like these are things that belong to her mother is much, you know, that is the forefront of the thing. But also like even the comics are just like, hell yeah, like we love these outfits. So yeah, no shade, no shame.
Yeah.
Speaking of George Lucas hating women, one thing that I did want to highlight, and this isn't even really a point, I just wanted to shout out that this is the first time that anything Star Wars has been scored by a woman. So obviously John Williams wrote the main theme and which was Obi-Wan's theme, but Natalie Holt was the one who scored the whole rest of the series, and she did a fucking fantastic job. I have no ears in terms of being able to just like appreciate music. I am completely tone deaf, as I've mentioned on the pod before. I truly cannot appreciate anything, as Chris knows, because he has heard me sing in the car. But lovely, like I think I can say that she did a lovely job, and that is inarguable. So
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to talk about that too, because I feel like I think most of people are aware that the field of composing, in terms of film and TV, is ridiculously difficult for women to break into. And then on top of that, I don't understand music, but I like to listen to it anyways. And I don't know. I always just, everyone who's watched Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or any other thing has heard me say like blank is a musical genius, just because I'm always like, listen to the soundtrack. But in this instance, I felt, yes, that same way. But also, I felt like that quip that you hear often, maybe quip is the wrong word, where people will say a good soundtrack, you hardly notice a good soundtrack. I felt like this was an instance of that in a positive way. Of like, I noticed in certain moments when the music would swell, but it really fit the scenes. Whereas I absolutely am here for like really over-the-top soundtracks that are constantly emotional and evocative. But this did really suit the moods of the scenes. And a couple of the songs have come up on my Pandora. I know I live in 2005 and still listen to Pandora, but I listen to like soundtrack music and other classical music when I'm writing stuff for work. And a couple of the songs have come on, and I always have to like pause. And it's funny because in the show, I didn't want to pause and rewind just to hear the score, which I do for some content. But when I've heard it on Pandora, I have to go back. And I think she just did a fantastic job of really setting each piece for the scene while still making it beautiful.
Yeah, that is I just want to say that's such an excellent point about just like, if the music is good, then probably you're not noticing it. And like you were saying, there's a place for like John Williams' absolute bombast, and there's a place for this, and this was absolutely the place for this, for telling a, you know, all things being equal, a relatively small story, a character-driven story. I think that you know, they made a great choice in choosing her, and she made great choices, you know, in and of herself in what she did with it. So yeah,
and it's, you know, obviously because this is the Star Wars fandom, there were, you know, so many fucking chodes on the internet who have never analyzed a film more than, oh, this looks cool, just out here being like, you know, I really thought that the direction and the composition and the score composition were just really subpar on this one. I'm like, okay,
people who said the direction were subpar
really pulled those out of thin air there, pal.
As much as I love Ludwig Göransson, half of his soundtrack for Mandalorian is just bass, and synth, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But let's not pretend like that is like the most majestic soundtrack possible, and Natalie Holt somehow did a terrible job.
No, yeah, I mean it's ridiculous on its face, but like it's always just funny how people who have never shown any inclination to actually engage critically with film have all these takes out of nowhere.
I'm sorry, have they ever had the inclination to engage critically with anything? Are they in possession of a brain? All questions we may never know, but I suspect I have an answer.
Yeah, it's rough. Anyway, shall we listener question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to shift to it.
All right.
Our first question is from Drew, and he wanted to know if we were happy with Rupert Friend's portrayal of the Grand Inquisitor.
Yes.
I honestly
loved
didn't care, so I'll let you guys answer.
Yeah. So Chris and I actually rewatched. I just kicked so many things under my desk because that's a storage area that is appropriate. Chris and I actually rewatched the entirety of season 1 of Rebels before watching Kenobi, and you know, people nitpicking and complaining about the dimensions of his head aside, I thought he did a terrific job. I think he did a wonderful job of kind of just like recreating just this. He has the Grand Inquisitor as a character, you know, who originated in animation. Jason Isaacs gave him a really particular way of speaking, like a really certain cadence and pronunciation and all of that. And I think Rupert Friend did a really wonderful job of bringing that into live action without super mimicking it or making it super cartoony. Like, things we accept in animation voiceover are not necessarily things we will always accept in a live action performance. I thought he did a really lovely job. I was talking to my cousin about this actually, and he was just like that moment where he, he pops up and he's like, "Surprise, bitch!" But you thought you'd seen the last of me. Where he's just like, "Hello, third sister," and it's just like the most perfect delivery of all time. Chris will tell you that I basically slid off the couch because I was like, "This is so good. This is better than napping almost." Like,
hello there.
Wait. Like, I thought it was so, I don't know. I thought he did a delightful job without making him a complete caricature. So
yeah, Kate, I think you really hit the nail on the head with it was a really great example of how to honor a previous performance of a character while still making it your own instead of falling back into imitation. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people think they want out of transfers of characters to live action. I'm honestly very afraid of, I'm very afraid of the upcoming Avatar live action series for many reasons because it looks like a goddamn train wreck. But one of
Hey,
them,
at least there's a Mohawk actress. I'm happy.
that's
Just
true.
kidding. It's not enough.
There's
It's
also
not
White Sokka.
Yeah, no, and also like even as a Mohawk person, I know that if they wanted an Inuit in that role, it should have been an Inuit. But anyways.
Yeah, it's
There's so many layers.
there's a lot to
and
it.
they all taste bad.
But anyway, so like, and also Star Wars
Sorry.
fans. Oh, you're fine. Star Wars fans are very obsessed with the voice actors getting an opportunity to play their characters in live action.
Even when it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah.
Ahsoka. I'm not saying Rosario Dawson was the right casting choice. I'm saying that
Ashley was also not.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we agree on this. Fight us, white women. But
Can we rename the pod?
always. But anyway, to get back to it, I thought that Rupert Friend did a phenomenal job of making it his own while still keeping the essence of this character that is simultaneously the height of ridiculously and also terror, which is what he reaches in Rebels. He has a very deep voice, very like I can't think
He's
of the
a
word.
clown who will stab you.
Yeah, I mean, but he's also an extremely articulate. Like his
He's
pronunciation
a
of everything is
classically
immaculate.
trained French mime who will stab
Yes.
you.
Yes, honestly, but with a very deep voice. And Rupert Friend completely changed the voice. It was kind of jarring in the first trailer that we saw with him because we're like, this is not what we're used to for him. But he somehow keeps that same vibe of like, I don't know whether to laugh or scream. And that is the Grand Inquisitor. And I think that's a really good way to bring a character from animation, which at least in Star Wars is a funnier medium. Like it is intentionally played for comedy in Star Wars. And but also keep like bringing it into live action where it's very much not supposed to be a funny role, but still bringing that element to it. So I went in very ambivalent about that casting, and he absolutely won me over.
Also, Rupert Friend just seems very excited just to be in a Star Wars, and I just, I'm very endeared to folks who are just like, they're just happy to be here, and it's not like necessarily that he did, like, folks didn't deserve, like, there are a number of actors who are just like, I'm in a Star Wars, and I'm just happy to be here, and I'm just, like, obviously, like, many of, like, like Pedro, who's just, like, that is exactly his entire ethos, and he certainly, like, more than earned it, but also, like, he was just, like, Rupert Friend was just excited, and, I think I've only seen him as Mr. Wickham in Pride and Prejudice, and I was just like, it's so nice to see that you actually have, like, acting range, so...
It's
yeah,
funny.
I feel bad because I used to think of him as knockoff Orlando Bloom. And now
Yes!
I'm like, oh no, but actually,
Me
because he's
too!
in some weird action movie I saw like 10 years ago now that I
Mm-hmm.
vaguely remember. There's some scene where they like almost get hit by a train. That's all I remember. But actually, in this, I was like, all right.
It's funny because I only knew him from Homeland, where he plays a CIA assassin.
Oh, I don't think I got that far in Homeland. Is
which
it a
is-
later season?
It's maybe season 3 onward.
Homeland's
I
not
couldn't
good.
get
You're-
past the
you're-
second season. I was like, oh, this is racist.
Oh yeah,
Not
Homeland's
that you're
super
racist
racist.
for watching it, but I was like, I can't.
No,
do it.
no, Homeland has major. I did not make it to the end of Homeland for that very
Yikes.
reason.
On a bike.
But yeah, and it's a very different character, and you don't see that humor aspect to him in Homeland because Homeland's not a funny show, which is weird because it stars Mandy Patinkin. But
Hello. Etc.
Okay, he
but
was.
yeah.
Sorry, he was also on Criminal Minds,
He was.
Rupert Friend.
which no, Mandy
No, Mandy
Patinkin.
Patinkin.
Oh,
Famously not a comedy.
yeah, true. But yeah, so it was interesting to see him in that light. And also to your point, Kate, about everybody being happy to be in Star Wars. That's something that I really love that we're seeing with all the TV shows. And, as much as I rag on Favreau and Filoni just like running their own little fiefdom over there. Like
Fiefdom.
everybody who has been a part of Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett comes out fucking loving it. And say what you will about George Lucas, nobody ever came out of a George Lucas production being like, that was the most fun I've ever had. Because George Lucas is famously a fucking nightmare to work with.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see people actually enjoying being in Star Wars during it.
I do feel like that's a good segue to our next listener question. I know we're coming up on time, but this one is really important. This is from Bria. And she just says, Deborah Chow. And I just need to make sure that we named that one.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. Bria Livornia, our Tashi Station colleague. That was our only comment / question. And all I can say is yes, abso-fucking-lutely. There was this beautiful meme somebody made of just like Deborah Chow's face instead of like the fucking sun in Teletubbies or something like that. And I was like, yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. You're absolutely correct about that. And that's all I got to say. Like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, between Deborah Chow and Bryce Dallas Howard and Rick Famuyiwa and Taika, there's just so many, and Robert Rodriguez in Mando. There's such a great stable of directors that is being brought into Star Wars right now. Tony Gilroy coming up with Andor. I know that I've seen rumors that like Lucasfilm is really happy with how that turned out and that they're trying to lock him down on a long-term contract. It's really, you know, even when it was good, directors were always kind of an Achilles heel with Star Wars, with the exception of why can't I remember his name? The Empire Strikes Back director.
Kasdan.
Not Kasdan. Never Kasdan.
Ivan Kershner.
Thank you, Irvin
Thank
Kershner.
you. Wow.
Oh, I got the first name wrong, so.
Someone
you got me there, though. You got me
take
there.
my fan card. I am fired. I am
Just
never.
think you would begin. You'll be
Listen, Elder Kasdan is fine, but I'll never forgive him for making us deal with baby Kasdan.
Don't talk about making in terms of people and their children. Anyway, go on.
That's a video I didn't see.
Wait, what? I don't know.
That's a sex reference, right? Or
It
am I
is.
just...
No,
I-
you're
I'm-
Okay.
Ron is always on my fucking wavelength.
I'm very confused. Anyway, directors have always been kind of a weak point of Star Wars, from George Lucas himself, and the director on Return of the Jedi was fine. And
Whatever the
liter- and,
fuck happened in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, and
Motherfucking JJ.
I was
If I
okay with-
ever see
Yeah.
you, I swear to God, I will probably do nothing, but I will wish bad things upon you.
I was okay with not J.J. Abrams, don't worry. I was okay with Rian Johnson's
I liked Rian Johnson.
stuff. I
Yeah.
didn't mind
was
it.
good.
Like, I appreciated the return to funny and to, like, not taking itself too seriously.
No, I mean, I love Rian Johnson. Like, he has his issues. He's a very, very white man, but I love
Yeah.
Last Jedi, and I love his directorial vision. But directors have more been a weakness than a strength in the history of Star Wars, and I think that we're past that era, and that's really, really exciting to see.
Thank you, Space
And
Jesus.
Deb Chow is top of the list for sure. I mean, from the fan response to the critical response to working all of these great things that we're talking about into a show that is critically acclaimed and should probably get some Emmy or Golden Globe buzz when the time comes. Just a phenomenal job.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so this next question comes from Michael Gardner. He asked how we would have fixed Reva's character arc. And to be totally honest, since none of us on the show are black, we don't really have the range there. And also, I think Reva deserves a lot of time. And we've talked on the pod behind the scenes about how we feel like Reva deserves a deeper conversation. So we're going to try to revisit this on a future bonus pod. So stay tuned. We are going to try to have some folks join us who have a lot more background and personal connection to that question. And also, we're just going to do a deeper dive into her character.
Yes, indeed.
So, yeah. The next question is from Jess. And she asked, how much did you cry? Kate?
I cried at seeing Hayden out of the suit. Fucking loved it. I'm just happy for my boy. I really am.
I know you are. I know you are. This is at Space Yes of Lousy Beautiful Town Pod / Twitter Screaming, which you know,
Oh, yes, thank you.
which is all good Twitter Screaming. You should follow all of the screaming. How much did I cry? I don't think I actually like physically wept a tear because I also have no soul, like people who have no brains and just float around in the universe and don't think about things. That's definitely not me. I definitely don't overthink things. My generalized anxiety diagnosis definitely doesn't tell me that. But I definitely had a lot of feelings. More feelings than I expected to, honestly. I wasn't sure if we were gonna, like, I knew that we were going to explore like some feelings that Obi-Wan would have had during this time of exile, and grappling with all the things that happened when he threw Anakin into a fucking volcano. But I didn't necessarily like, with Star Wars, it's always a little bit of a toss-up, like how much you're gonna get in terms of character-driven versus like fun, like action romp. And honestly, I should have known better in terms of like Deb Chow was directing this, and we got what we got. And so, yeah, I still get super emotional just like scrolling through whatever the fuck and seeing like, as much as there are funny memes about Obi-Wan being the high ground, there's a lot of like really lovely tribute stuff that people are putting together about parallels between things that were said or like scenes from the prequels and the show, and those have been really, I think, poignant. There's this one thing that I saw that was like the moment of Obi-Wan's death, like he felt like he was at peace because he saw Luke and Leia reunited, and that's the moment where he let Vader strike him down. And that was really, really, really touching, I think. Whether or not, obviously, like, Deb Chow can't intend something that was made back in 1977, but the way that she clearly deliberately made a whole lot of connections there to the emotional heart of Star Wars, the way that Star Wars, I don't know, the way that it's part of the fabric of our pop culture and is part of so many people's lives. I think she really was so respectful of that, especially as a Star Wars fan. I thought those are the moments really that choked me up. Sidebar before I let people talk about crying, I just want to acknowledge again Kristen's comment of, will Ice Cube's son be in more Star Wars? He played Roken in Obi-Wan.
That's not Jess's question?
Was it Jess's question, or was it Keeks just
I think it's Jess's question and Keeks' response.
Yes. Or no, it was Jess's question. Excuse me. I had Jin. Jess is already fucking ragging on us for fucking not addressing her questions in the first episode. So she's gonna
let's credit them to Kristen.
Oh yeah, let's
credited your question.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
We hate Asian women on the pod.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say, or we could just say Kate came up with them and just wrong Asian it.
Yeah, no, just oh my god.
Orca now loves Jess.
Jesus, he's going. Jess
Orca
is
will
soon.
love Jess. He's gonna be very confused.
Jess is visiting us soon, and he will absolutely love Jess because he's fucking racist and he loves all Asian women. I'm not kidding. He's loved every Asian woman he's ever met. Because he thinks it's mommy. Jess says, "Will Ice Cube's son be in more Star Wars?" And this was actually me. I was like, please, or I will go Grand Theft Auto on someone's ass. I only joke about this because Ice Cube famously just plays GTA in his trailer nonstop when he's on set for things. And I can only imagine that.
Does he really? That's delightful.
Yes, and I can only
Good
imagine that O'Shea Jackson Jr. is also doing similar things because he was Lee Everett in The Walking Dead. So, in The Walking Dead game, by Telltale Games. So, yeah, no, if he doesn't show up in Andor or anything else, I will find someone and stab them.
I bet he'll be in Andor. I have a feeling.
Please
I feel
God.
like even if he's not in season 1, they're about to start filming season 2 of Andor, and there's no reason for him not to even cameo.
Somebody like did one of those little meme tweets of just like their little summoning circle with the candles and stuff, and they were just like manifesting a show with Reva and Roken, and I was like, yes, that would be
My
so
God.
much fun.
The power in that duo.
I know, right? Seriously. All right. How much did the rest of y'all cry at the show?
I didn't cry. Sorry.
How much did you
famously,
feel?
The only things. I mean, I had feelings. I'm not entirely robotic, but usually the only things that make me cry, which I guess were kind of in the show, are like unconditional parental love for people. That always makes me cry. I'm like, oh, look at parenting.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are great, I promise. And then that's not sarcasm. They're good people.
They are.
But that always makes me cry. And then like pet death, but that wasn't too bad. I almost cried with laughter at the Trump supporter. Does that count?
Yeah, I know that counts.
Yeah, the naked mole rat dude. He was. I was just like, wow. I was gonna answer that for how this expanded our universe too. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
If you are a conservative who still thinks that you are on the right side of Star Wars because you would magically be a rebel, let me tell you, I was fine with that.
Excuse you.
I don't need subtleism.
Star Wars isn't political. I don't know what you mean. I was laughing at Mole Man, honestly, only because it was fucking Zach Braff who was voicing him, which made my head all the way explode, because that is so fucking outrageous. Like, what Zach Braff voicing a Mole Man is just so much for me. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I have
Honestly,
alcohol.
just the delivery on that's a weird story for like Obi-Wan and Leia's like terrible fucking alibi is just perfection. Like, it's just fantastic. I'm also not a big TV crier for the most part. I like to save my crying for when I'm watching Love, Simon on an airplane.
That's true.
It was ugly, y'all. It was ugly.
I was dead asleep, and he was sobbing, bawling, crying, watching Love, Simon.
Yeah. Anyway, but it was emotional though, and I think that's very much due to Ewan's performance and everyone's. Like, everyone did a phenomenal job, but Ewan really got to show his emotional range in this, from the moment where he finds out that Anakin is still alive in episode 2 to episode 6 where he is kind of defeated Vader and has his catharsis moment of acknowledgement that he did this. It's a lot, and it's the performance that he deserved to give and that we all, I think, deserve to see in the prequels. And so that's, it goes back to that I'm happy that we all got that opportunity.
Burb, do you have any crying over the lack of payers or otherwise?
Surprisingly, no. I did not cry. I didn't feel that
Wow.
many feelings. I just was there for a good time.
Fair enough.
And that's how I
But
feel
yes,
about
please to
Star
more
Wars.
Roken. Yes, please to more Roken though, because like you can't just have his last line be "I'm just getting started" and not bring him back.
Please, God.
And also, he was such a good character, and also like a unique character, I think, in the not desiring to fight aspect of it, which is always something that Star Wars has really
Yeah, that
struggled
was
with.
interesting. I will say, well, this is irrelevant at this point, but I was a little bit confused by the order of operations involving his storyline once they get Leia and Obi-Wan. I was like, if they didn't know they're being tracked, why wouldn't they? I guess they didn't have enough gas or something to immediately drop her off. But I was like, why would your first priority not be get the displaced child home? But you know what? That's not his fault. It's writing. It's cool. Or it's me misunderstanding the plot.
Blew their fuel rescuing Leia, and were not able to get her off planet.
Okay, I was confused about that. I was like, take her home, please.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
She needs to go home. So, okay, I missed that line.
You're fine.
But yeah, so please more Roken, please more Reva. I'm still sad that Tala died. Would have loved to see more of her. But also, that's the amazing thing about having multiple women of color in a Star Wars. It's not fucking fury-inducing.
She didn't get Valed, where she was in it for 5 literal minutes, and then yeet.
No, she had a full character arc.
Yeah, no.
Which I really appreciated.
Yeet in many pieces.
I will say that, we talked on the pod a while ago now, probably like over a year ago, about when they were making the show, and no one would say what Indira Varma was going to have for a role, and there was this image of her in an Imperial outfit that was leaked, and we're all like, oh, okay, now we know what her role is. That was so stupid of them to put her little like makeup covering over, but then still have her hat.
Yeah.
And we were wrong.
I know.
We got that one wrong. That seems intentional misleading.
It does.
Honestly, between that and the Luke, I was gonna say catfishing. Is that the right red herring? Sorry, some fish. I was like, both of those misleads were absolutely delightful. So, yeah, Deb Chow, we all bow down.
Well, this has been our, for now, I guess, conclusion of the Obi-Wan series. Go get your booster if you're eligible, or if you're not eligible and you feel like you need it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not a doctor. Please wear your mask. I don't know if you know about BA5.
And monkeypox.
Our next book will be not this. There we go. Should we start this over?
Bird, please.
No, just
no,
roll with it.
no,
Just
you gotta roll
with
with it
All
now.
right. So, our next book will be The High Republic Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. We're going to read up to chapter 12. Yes, I mentioned the Riva bonus episode. We don't know when that will happen, but stay tuned. We'll do it. If you have the means. Oh my God, this is a short intro, and I talked too long.
I hit the
if
loop
you have
button.
the means.
I got it.
Thank you.
Baby Jesus.
If you have
baby,
the means,
sweet baby burp.
please donate to Indigenous Women Rising, iwrising.org. And if for whatever reason you have enough money to throw it at us, donate to the Toshi Station Radio Patreon, which helps cover our hosting and production costs. Give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwordspod. Otherwise, I will starve my dog. No, then you get photos of Argos, Cerberus, Jasper, Orca, and Tony. Our theme song is by Poddington Bear. The song is Whiz Bang. Our logo and artwork is by Joe Butera Design, and audio and production this time was done by Miranda Eldon. So,
Keeks is still
thank you
doing
so much.
production on this. I'm done.
She-
I don't know how
well,
anything works
nah.
sometimes.
Thanks for not driving off the road or harming yourself while listening to us. I know it's difficult. We will see you another time.
Oh, stop. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start it over
countdown.
again.
Oh, this is gonna be the best end tag of all
Wait,
time.
what's our time right now? We're at it'll end
It'll
when we
like-
restart it, right?
How? Okay, I want to drag you back to the beginning.
Oh my god.